So a lot of Sims 4 news has come out in the last couple of days. So I just kind of want to do a Sims news roundup and just hit it all at the same time. So there was an article released that says new year, new updates, and 4 things to know about the future of The Sims. So just to kick off 2026, they wanted to kind of highlight a few things that are or are not going to be changing when it comes to the Sims franchise. So they claim the value of The Sims is going to stay the same. So The Sims has always been more than just a game. It has been a canvas for all things unpredictable, chaotic moments, tiny joys, big dreams, different identities. And so it's been, a big part of people's lives to have the options of inclusivity, choice, creativity, community, and play. And the Sims team is dedicated to having that not change. And they did a separate article about the values, and then where they go into a little bit more details, and we'll cover that in a minute. So then they start talking about the future of The Sims, which excludes PC, console, and mobile. So The Sims at its best is when people can play the way that feels right to them, whether you're just here for storytelling, building, or seeing what happens when free will takes over. Everything is truly imaginative, and they want to have creativity with room to grow. So they are trying to build a family of new Sims experiences across PC, console, and mobile. Each experience will carry the heart, humor, creativity, and lore that you love, while also introducing its own world, focus, and way to play. Each experience will stand strong on its own, and together they'll open up to a larger world of possibilities. Now, I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. I think they just discontinued one of their mobile games, The Sims Mobile, but The Sims Free Play, of course, is still going on. I don't know if we're going to get a new Sims game or not. So we are committed to single-player life simulation experiences. At the core, The Sims was built on a deep single-player life simulation, chock full of rich systems, meaningful storytelling, and player agency. That foundation is not going anywhere. We will continue to deliver content to The Sims 4, and we are committed to improving the experience. Single-player PC and console experiences will always be a part of the future, with more than half of our global development team dedicated to The Sims 4 and the next evolution. And there's going to be more news in the coming months. Project Renee has evolved into a social collaborative mobile-first life sim. So thanks to ongoing feedback, Project Renee has evolved to focus on social multiplayer play, offering a more direct way for friends to share creativity together. It is not the successor to The Sims 4, and it is a separate experience from any full, deep, single-player life simulation experience. It introduces a new way to play together with the growing Sims family of games, welcoming Simmers who want to directly play with other players. So that's interesting. It does look like a mobile game. It looks kind of cartoony. It kind of puts me in the mind of The Sims Mobile, but maybe a little bit more detailed. And I guess you can see other players' names above their head. I'm not sure. Playtesting is going to continue across multiple Sims products and experiences in 2026. So through limited market tests and through the Sims Lab, you will encounter early builds and prototypes. These tests are works in progress with experimental game features, concept imagery, naming conventions, and ideas in motion. Some concepts evolve, and some are an experiment that won't move together at all. That's the normal, important part of how we build The Sims, by finding the fun early together. So looking ahead, our focus is on the next era of The Sims. It's one we aspire to build with you, because The Sims has always been its best when players help shape what comes next. I mean, all that sounds good, great, and fine. This isn't really a roadmap per se. This is interesting, but I'd be curious to see what they mean by Project Renee. Is there more information about that? And then what is the next single player life sim experience? If it's not The Sims 4 and it's not Project Renee, what is coming next? There has been rumors of a Project X, but it's not clear what that is. And then there was also a laundry list that came out on January 6th for a big patch that's coming out on January 13th, which is next week at the time of recording. So it says, hi Simmers, welcome to the laundry list, where we share the top community concerns where we're currently investigating and hoping to resolve. These are a list of top topics with upcoming fixes. There are more topics being reported by players that are not listed here and are being worked on. Thank you for your continued reports and voting on what issue you're experiencing. So these are the top 5 voted fixes at this time that they're investigating for the next review. Number 1, they're investigating a server error when uploading to the gallery or to the library. It is primarily a console issue, but can also happen with PC on the base game. There's also an issue where child, teen, young adult, adult, and elder Sims no longer had clothing visible under their privacy mosaic. They're working on this issue, hoping to fully resolve it. There was an issue with Sims standing around and not caring for their infants While holding infant, Sims were playing an idle animation that delayed responsiveness to cued interactions. The idle was removed. We hope to further address additional infant issues in future updates. They have fixed the issue where the memorial portraits and graduation photos will no longer display a Sim's image and appeared blank. This does not address the portraits and photos that were already broken, but it will work on old saves for future gameplay with these objects. It's a little disappointing that it doesn't go back and fix the old issue, but it's okay. And then household small business employed Sims will no longer receive a missed work/school pop-up when opening a small business while the Sim is at work or school. Cool. They're still working on the 2 save corruption bugs, so they're fixing the issue where open street objects are being shelved and never removed when traveling to an apartment building, and they fix a save corruption issue where a player could be stuck on an endless load or return to managed world after setting a custom venue schedule to include romantic orientation role criteria. Okay, so for the painting and the photo losing data, so what they kind of figured out under this category was a few other issues. So they figured out paint by reference paintings will no longer turn white after they've been put in the Sims inventory and the game has been relaunched. This fix is retroactive. Photos captured with the camera will no longer turn black once they've been mounted on a wall and the game is relaunched. This is not retroactive. Photos taken with the camera will no longer turn black once they've been put in the Sims inventory or in a storage chest and the game has been relaunched. That's not also retroactive. The create copy interaction on the painting will no longer result in a blank white canvas when being placed on the wall. That issue is retroactive. Celebrity autographs will no longer appear blank when they've been hung up on the wall, but that's not retroactive. And then, of course, as noted above, we fixed the memorial portraits and graduation photos. Great. I'm glad they finally fixed the photo issue, because that's a big part of legacy gameplay, at least for me, is if I'm going to play in a legacy way, I want to see pictures of each generation of the legacy. So it's kind of interesting that they're now fixing that. I know this issue's been going around since growing together, so March of 2023, so almost 3 years now. They also have fixed 4 instances where created Sim objects were being hidden from players, so now you can see them. This light brown hair from Adventure Awaits, this like full body swimsuit for children from Adventure Awaits, this hair with bangs for children is now available for children from Horse Ranch, and this makeup from Enchanted by Nature. And then, of course, we get into the general bug fixes, which there are quite a few of those. So they fix an issue where away actions at work were causing Sims to never receive need gains while at work or school due to the change that was made during Adventure Awaits about how away functions at work function. They also fixed an issue where the fight interaction was available on all Sims, even if they only had a positive relationship. Now it will only appear if they have a negative relationship. Sims will no longer die of overheating when wearing the correct clothing. And they also addressed the issue where sand sculptures were auto-generating on beaches when it had rained a lot. That makes sense. From Growing Together, they fixed the issue where it was difficult to unlock the pull to stand milestone. The issue was that infants needed to be near certain objects to pull themselves up for the first time, but this was never indicated to the player, and sometimes infants aren't located near these objects. They can still unlock this milestone as they previously could, but to address the concerns with it not being obvious, in many cases, we've added a grayed out interaction and a hover tip that directs the player to place the infant near the crib. While in the crib, the infant can pull themselves to stand, and as an additional option, we've now added the interaction that infants in the crib pull themselves up to stand once they're ready to unlock the milestone. This interaction will be available on an infant child when the infant is the active sim. That's great. I am so glad that they are fixing that. I don't think I ever got that with any of my infants. They also fixed the issue where small business employees were leaving early if the business was 5-star and the selected customer criteria was supervised customer only. Imaginary friends no longer reset and disappear from the relationship panel. Custom venues will now save roles and schedules with a custom role containing a romantic orientation criteria. Werewolf offspring wouldn't have black textures or no pelts upon aging to teen. They fixed camera issues with being obstructed by trees in the gallery. Maids and butlers will now try to mop puddles instead of vacuuming them fruitlessly for hours, which is interesting. I'm glad that they fixed that. They also did some tagging updates for Create a Sim and Build Mode to make things a little bit more accurate. So lump of clay now counts as a kid's activity and will also sort in the creative skills section. So that's nice. I'm glad that they fixed the tagging, because that's how you sort things. That would be incredibly helpful. So of course, for their next fixes, this is the ones that they're going to be focused on in the future, not the one that's coming January 13th. So they're going to fix some console crashing that happened after the last patch. They're going to look into the creative sim turn on and turn off lacking numbers and the like and dislike button. Eyelids not completely closing has been an issue they're working on as well. They're also investigating partner sims turning into siblings, and they believe it's related to gameplay around adoption, have a science baby, and create a sim generated offspring. And they're working on various fixes for sims becoming obsessed with certain objects. So I'm glad to see they're working through all of these issues. It is strange, but very upsetting that some of these bugs are really old and they're just now getting to it or starting to get to it. But I'm still hopeful that the Sims team is working towards something. We'll see what 2026 has to bring. Let me know in the comments below what you think.